Right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 16th, 2019 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm Barb Lewis, President. To my left, our Vice President, Jeff Benton. To my right, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill, our Administrator, Mike Fomer, and our Clerk, Sarah Donato. We can begin.
Resolution number 19-453, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceedings from regular meeting held May 13th, 2019, and special meetings held May 14th and 15th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-453. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public comment this morning. Resolution number 19-454, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants and batch numbers CMA PR 0515, and memo transfers and batch numbers MTA PR 0515.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-454. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-455, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-455. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-456, in the matter of extending the filing date for the filing of plans, reports, and schedules for the Norris Run Full Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition Project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-456. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-457, in the matter of extending the filing date for the plans, reports, and schedules for the Radnor Township number 2015-1 Watershed Drainage Improvement Project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-457. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-458, in the matter of thanking Governor and the State of Ohio representatives for their support of state indigent defense reimbursement and calling on the Ohio Senate to continue this support in the full state budget bill.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment. It's easy to put in writing, but I think it needs to be verbalized as well. The support is, this is going to really make a difference. It's something that's overdue, and our governor and our representatives in the House and Senate should be applauded for this, and just want to say thank you.
Yes, Representative Carfagna in the House supported it, and also an amendment to this bill and to the budget, and now it goes over to the Senate, and Senator Brenner's already sent a letter to the governor expressing his support. So they are definitely doing a great job.
And
So.
supporting the House is
Yes,
very
supporting the House
substantial.
increase, correct. Yes.
And Governor DeWine took the first step by proposing roughly 2/3 reimbursement and basically recognizing that this is an unfunded mandate, or a
Yes.
partially funded mandate, maybe is a better way to describe it,
Yeah.
from the state. And, getting full funding just makes sense. So it's good to see that
Right.
this is moving forward. Hopefully it'll be finalized and
Yeah.
included in the bill, in the
Our,
budget.
our end of paying the mandate just kept growing.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's why we had to do something. So, yes, vote.
Vote on motion 19-458. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Item number 8 has been pulled from our agenda today. So that takes us to page 231. Resolution number 19-459, in the matter of authorizing the use of procurement card for the Facilities Department.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-459. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-450, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer improvement plans for the Heathers at Gulf Village, Section 4.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag, Director of Environmental Services. This is a 19-lot subdivision that's located near the Liberty Tree Elementary as well as Hyatt's Middle School. They have met all of our requirements for the plan review, and we request your approval.
Thank you. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-460. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-461, in the matter of accepting sanitary improvements for the cottages at Hyatt.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
These sewers have been installed and met all of our requirements. It's a 26-unit subdivision north of Hyatt's Road across from Scioto Chase Boulevard. We request your approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-461. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-462, in the matter of reappointing members to the Evans Farm New Community Authority Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. We have before you the resolution to reappoint Rob Riley and John Kirksey to the Evans Farm New Community Authority Board of Trustees, and we recommend your approval.
Discussion. Any more? Nope. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-462. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 19-463, in the matter of amending resolution number 19-351.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. We had a typo error in the original resolution. It should have read Decker Construction, not December. So
Oh, okay.
ask for you to revise that,
That
please.
darn autofill.
Yeah, yeah, really. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-463. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-464, in the matter of approving plan specifications to estimate and setting the bid date for the project known as DEL-CR017-4.40, Harlem Woodtown Road improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is a project we have been working on for a couple of years. It's located on Harlem Road, just east of, it's probably half a mile east of Sunbury Road in Harlem Township. The project involves replacement of a bridge as well as improvement, safety improvements at the existing Harlem and Woodtown Road intersection. Total estimated cost for this project is about $1.4 million. The proposed schedule would be to start construction this fall, probably in the September timeframe, with the goal of hopefully wrapping it up this year. Much of that will depend on the utility relocation schedule. There are some power poles that need to be moved, so we are asking for your approval to go out to bid for this project.
Okay, I just passed that area last week. Harlem kind of comes, Harlem then bends around and,
It does.
And Woodtown goes
I call it
east.
Harlem Woodtown Road because it's
Yeah.
doesn't make much sense.
right, it doesn't, yes. I stayed on the road, though, that's the important
Good.
thing. So, thank you. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-464. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-465, in the matter of awarding a bid and approving a contract between the Delaware County Commissioners and Shelley Company for the 2019 County Road Improvement Program.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We received 2 bids for the annual resurfacing contract. The low bid was from the Shelley Company. We've worked with Shelley Company many times before, and they do good work, so we have no hesitation about recommending award to them. The bid was about $3.2 million for the county portion of the project, which was 2% below the engineer's estimate. Overall, this is about a $7.9 million project, including all of the township work. So again, the county portion is about 3.2. The overall project is 7.9. So we feel like we got pretty good bids. We did see some increase in the township portion of the project. That actually came in slightly over the estimate. So that said, we'd like to go ahead and proceed. The work will start very soon, resurfacing, and then be wrapped up probably by the end of September this year.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-465. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-466, in the matter of approving a cooperation agreement between the Board of Commissioners and the City of Delaware for resurfacing of Section Line Road.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So the cooperation agreement with the City of Delaware involving Section Line Road, that is, includes resurfacing from 36, from Route 42 to Route 36. A portion of that lies within the city limits. I believe the city portion is about $118,000. So this would allow us to do that work as part of the road improvement program, and then we'll invoice the city for the actual cost when the project is done. And then the pipeline relocation agreement, that involves a culvert, large culvert replacement project on County Home Road near the old County Home Ventures Academy area. The gas line will need to be relocated at a cost of about $29,000, and we'll be doing that culvert project really as soon as we can, but probably starting in June or July this year.
That's the next resolution. You're jumping ahead there.
Was this part of the same?
Separated them.
They're separate.
Oh, okay.
I was looking too, I thought, oh, okay, well, so we can just do the first.
Okay,
which
I'm sorry.
was this section line. We'll vote on that.
Vote on motion 19-466. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-467, in the matter of approving the pipeline relocation agreement by and between the Columbia Gas of Ohio and Delaware County for County Home Road.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Well, my explanation
Yeah,
stands. Sorry,
yeah.
I was reading off the agenda, so
Yeah.
any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-467. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-468, in the matter of authorizing the purchase of equipment for the county engineer's office.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We're asking for your approval to purchase a wood chipper, replacement wood chipper for our crews to use during the summer. This was one of the budgeted equipment items in this year's budget, and so we're asking for your approval to purchase this.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-468. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
We're going to need to skip ahead to administrator reports if you're
Okay,
too early.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tomorrow, I just wanted to put a shout out. We've got from 2 to 4, our kickoff to summer ice cream social / tour of the historic courthouse before we start going in and changing it around. It'll be the last time you can see it in its current format. So just wanted to bring that up. I think hopefully the weather's cooperating. Today would have been the perfect day, but I think tomorrow will be just as good. And so it'll be nice to, hopefully a lot of employees can come and participate. So that's all I have.
I forget who's supposed to go next. I think it's you, Commissioner.
All right, I'll cover Gary's material. The three of us went to the Destination Delaware community information meeting, I think, community discussion meeting.
Oh, yes.
On Tuesday, I think it was, and that was very interesting. Bill Geist is the consultant they've hired to prepare a new strategic plan for Destination Delaware, which is the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and he did a nice job. Jane was there as well, I think they're looking at making some significant changes, down the road in their strategic direction and how they work together with the different engaged agencies and organizations. So it's good to see. Land Bank meeting was yesterday, and making nice progress, I think. We've got the insurance largely resolved, basically resolved. Got the legal agreement in place, so we're ready to move forward. And one nice thing is Treasurer Peterson is moving forward on a number of tax foreclosures, which are a logical feeder into the land bank. And he's resolving a number of them, and he's moving forward on the ones that aren't getting resolved. Sunny V in particular is off to a start to resolve that sticky situation there. So again, good progress. This is exactly why we created this organization, to deal with properties, and I think it's getting off to a good start. We have the Police Week cookout later on this morning. Want to mention that a very prominent and well-respected farmer, Charles Sheets, passed away last weekend. Charles was 92, World War II vet, Brown Township resident forever, I think. I'm sure Dawn knew him. Yeah, and went to the calling hours. It was packed. I think it was an hour and a half wait.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And But anyway, he and his wife Betty donated funds to
Yes.
build the Brown Township
Yes.
Hall. And again, just a very respected farmer, community leader, loved Brown Township, and just a great guy, and he will be missed. The Health District, interestingly, announced they bought their land on South Sandusky to build their new building. And, you know, they've had their downtown location for, I don't know, 15 years or so, and it's been difficult. You know, they're kind of scattered through the
Yes.
buildings, and their parking's a challenge, so they're going to build their own building on South Sandusky in a vacant lot. So I think that'll be nice for them, and congratulations to Sheila and their whole organization for taking this step forward to obviously better serve their constituents. And lastly, the PGA tournament has started. So if you haven't set your VCRs yet, you can set them at 1 o'clock on
VCR?
TNT.
A VCR?
VCR, what did I say?
You said
DVD.
You said VCR.
DVR. I'll get the right initials here. DVR, digital video recorder.
I don't have either, so.
So you can stream it. So anyway, and today and tomorrow on TNT, and then over the weekend TNT and CBS. So just be sure to watch.
Well, I think you still have some.
Well, I think I can add on to a couple of things he said, Commissioner Benton. The land bank, as Commissioner Benton indicated, the purpose of this is to get properties that are not on the tax rolls, that are not paying their taxes, and get them back either for a public good or back on the tax rolls for the benefit of all the taxpayers in the county. And we're making steady progress, and I'm excited about the direction that's going, and Commissioner Benton and I both are privileged to serve on that committee, or that board. I remember Mr. Sheets from the Brown Township, when they acknowledged him when they opened the building up there. And another one of those examples of people in our county who are generous with their time, with their money, and he will be missed, and he will be remembered for what he's contributed to the county. The health department project you mentioned, I was looking at my phone because there's a date on June 4th. I wanted to confirm the date. It's open to the public for people who want more information on that topic. So I think in fact, I can give you the time, June 4th at 6:30. It's at Terra Nova, which is roughly across the street from where the construction will take place. And that construction is partially a result of money that the state provided not 3-4 years ago. It tore down what was an eyesore. It became an eyesore. So it's going to be put to good use, and I guess we're all looking forward to that. I'm at a loss here. Commissioner Lewis and I both attend the same event. If I talk about it...
No, go ahead,
So,
because I have
I
one
feel
more
like-
thing I can mention.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so...
That's okay.
We were privileged to attend the foster care appreciation that we did for our foster parents in our county. And many of you may recall we had 3 speakers that spoke last Thursday, I believe, in session, and they were outstanding speakers, all 3 of them. 2 of those 3 families were represented last night, the spouse of the 3rd speaker, and both members of the 1st speaker, I believe, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but they did a tremendous job speaking and talking about foster care last week. The event last night was for our opportunity as a county to say thank you for what you do, and we had 6 families represented, and it is amazing what these people do for the benefit of the kids, and I'll say our kids in the county that are not being properly taken care of, for lack of a better phrase, and to have adults in our county, families in our county who will step forward and take responsibility is admirable. And so thank you to those families and all the families that weren't there last night. I think there's 21 families that provide foster care currently, and that's a fluid number, but I think that's the number we have currently. And I believe that's all I have.
And we had Administrator Fromer and our Deputy Administrator, Don Houston was there too, and Bob Anderson, our Jobs and Family Service Chief, organized the event. I thought it was really yeah, it was really nice. I'm glad that we got to have it here, too. It was, and I know the families appreciated it, too, they said, so. Just wanted to read a very short letter this is from Gary Honeycutt, Chief Honeycutt from Genoa Township, addressed to our EMS Chief Schuling. And he said, I would like to express my appreciation to you and to Captain Jennifer Cochran for her involvement in the critical incident stress debriefing team. First of all, her willingness to come out and educate our personnel 3 days in a row, and also for her assistance on May 2nd to assist in the debriefing of our personnel after the carbon monoxide incident where we lost 4 of our residents. Captain Cochran alone debriefed our crews. She spent all the time needed to discuss the situation and properly debrief the crew during this difficult time. When I spoke to each of the crew members the next day, they stated how valuable and how much they appreciated her help. We are proud, be proud and honored to have such fine people in your organization. Please share our appreciation to her, and if we or I can be of any service to you or your organization, just let us know. Sincerely, Chief Honeycutt. Very well, you know, she's remarkable, the opportunity to meet her and talk with her.
This seemed like an appropriate time. We talk about fire alarms in our house, and the carbon monoxide alarms are also very important. And
Yes.
if you don't have one, you should
yes.
consider it, and or 2,
Yeah.
maybe one on each floor of your house. I'm not sure what protocol is, but it's something to consider. This was a tragedy.
Yes, it really was. Any other comments? Well, we will just recess then until 10 o'clock. That is when we are permitted to start the hearing, and not before then. But, so we'll be back at 10. Welcome, everyone, to the public hearing to consider changing the name of Pheasant Run, a township road in the unincorporated area of Concord Township, Delaware County, Ohio, that currently has the same name as a pre-existing street in the city of Powell. And there is a sign-up sheet. I believe that it has been circulated, but if you haven't signed it, please do. Marissa has it. She's right up front. And if you wish to speak during the hearing, I don't have to swear you in, unlike some of the other hearings we have, so you can just state your name and address, and once I recognize you, just come forth and to the podium.
I'm going to open the hearing, if you don't mind.
Oh, you have to open the hearing. That's a good idea.
Resolution number 19-469, public hearing to consider changing the name of Pheasant Run, a township road in the unincorporated area of Concord Township, Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-469. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-470, in the matter of approving for a specific occurrence, a suspension of Rule 3, speaker registration, Rule 4, limitations, and Rule 7, public comment procedure from the rules governing public comment before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-470. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Okay, we are now ready to receive any public comments that you wish to make, pro or con. Yes, sir. You're welcome.
My name is David Betts. I'm the Director of Development for the City of Powell. And we kind of figured out this conflict because one of our residents was receiving packages for other Pheasant Run addresses, as well as construction vehicles coming to their location as these buildings or residential houses being built. And so she asked us to look into it. We'd looked into it and did find this survey, if I could approach and
Sure.
give you some information.
Sure. Thank you.
This is a summary of surveys and plats that was done by Mr. Hughes back in 1983, surveyor from Hughes Engineering that did all the work on the plats for Retreat. And as you can see on that review of survey of plats of Pheasant Run, is a private street. It's actually a description embedded into the deed on that lot. That lot and this lot to the south owned by the same person, Miss Jane Van Fossen. She's the one that brought up the issues with us. And so I wanted to just enter that into the record to show that it's been established since at least 1983, probably prior to that, without doing more deed digging, which we'd have to do at the recorder's office. Another item that I'd like to give you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. It's an email from Ms. Van Fossen. She lives part-time in Florida and part-time in Powell, and she couldn't be here today because she's still in Florida, but wanted to describe some of the issues that they've had with delivery and packages and things and creating problems. And I'm sure that we're a little concerned that even though the 911 center could establish lack of conflict, that there may be, some conflict might come up from time to time. So anyway, that's where we're at, and we had asked for the possibility of changing the name in the Concord Township once seeing the buildings are still under construction and it's the newest one. Maybe one way to prevent this from happening in the future would be making sure that all the private street names are on the list that the county engineering regional planning used to look at street names.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's all I
Okay.
have.
Any questions for
Just
Mr.
a
Betts?
comment, you brought up the 911. It's curious that you did that because we had somebody that lives in the area concerned about that. And Patrick took the time to explain that it's not an issue. It might be good just for reassuring the residents of our county, especially that area, if he could just quickly give why it's not an issue with 911. Are you comfortable with that?
Sure. Yeah.
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Brandt with the 911 Center. Yes, in our mapping system has been updated to reflect the Pheasant Run in Concord Township. When the 911 call comes in by landline, which is the old copper style, or by VoIP, it will plot to the resident's house that is there exactly. So we are able to tell them. We have had some runs on Pheasant Run I am aware of. Wireless callers is the resident over here I spoke with. The wireless callers, it plots to the area. It does not plot on the specific address particularly, depending on cell coverage and everything else. But we can plot to the area, and our system does show it. However, the concern we have is making sure, obviously Liberty and Concord, we dispatch both of them on the situation of what it is, of what nature of the call is. They could get confused and going to the wrong way as they pull out of their fire station on Liberty Road. If they're going to help Concord, not necessarily understand, hey, you got to go the other way. But our mapping system does cover both areas.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. All right. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Forrest Williams, and I live on a street by the name of Pheasant Run.
Okay.
Okay? And anyway, when we moved there in last December, and I appreciate this coming up, I don't know what the formulation was for this all meeting coming to pass, but our neighbors were complaining. We have had at least probably 30-some persons who were coming to do work on our house or work in the yard, and they ended up at the wrong place. They had to reschedule, and it was just time after time after time. And the neighbors that I talked to, I have not found a one, but what they wanted to see the name of that street changed. And if it doesn't get changed, we're all going to report you to Donald Trump and Santa Claus.
In that order?
Yeah. And Mr. Williams, you are in Concord Township? Yes, the one, okay. Yeah, I can see where it's confusing. Okay, are there any other people who wish to speak?
Hi, I'm Gary Huser, and I live in Pheasant Run, one of Forrest's neighbors who I just met trying to find this place. And, but anyway, we've run into the same issues. The people who come to work on your house, or if you have a service that you need, and I tell them, listen, we are not in Worthington Hills, which is where the retreat is, where we are in the new MI Homes development. Unfortunately, none of that is on a GPS. So everybody, I mean, this world is a GPS world, but they don't use maps anymore. So it's really causing a problem. But the down the road problem that I see is having to change everything. Every document I have, every check I have, I mean, is there a simpler solution in terms of just like adding a trail on the end of it so it would be identified, or Concord Township address so it would be identified? Something that would, delineate between the one down by 3, because they're 10 or 15 miles away from where we are to there. So, I mean, it definitely has to change, because even if these roads get put in a GPS system, it's still going to show 2 of them, and it's going to show the same zip code. So I think it's something that needs to be done, and I guess my question to you is, does MI Homes come up with the street names? Does the developer come up with the street names?
Oh, you're asking us who came up with
Yeah,
the
because
name?
I don't know how the whole thing works.
I don't, I think in some
Scott could
cases,
probably-
developers do come up with the street names.
Okay, yeah, because they're doing a wonderful thing by putting the neighbor across the street with the same street number that I have. So I get their packages all the time, too, so.
Oh, boy.
So that's just another issue, so.
Sure.
But anyway, no, I really think that there does need to be some kind of a change, and for me, the simpler the better. I can write on my checks trail at the end of Pheasant Run if we do something like that, but other than that, every document has to be changed, everything we have. Wouldn't our deeds and everything else have to be changed too, or?
I don't know. I don't know, Rob, if that's something you can address, or Eric, or I'm not sure as far as
Or Scott?
Scott, yes.
Jack Jennings.
Go ahead.
Jack Jennings, yeah.
Oh, sir, if you could come, we're on audio, yeah, and,
Well, my last comment is, whatever happens, I don't think we as Pheasant Run people should incur any expense on this. We didn't create the problem. We shouldn't
Sure.
have to fund the
We're
problem.
here to solve a problem.
Yeah,
and
yeah, right, I don't
That's really a
know.
separate topic. I
Yeah,
think the bigger
right.
issue is getting it
Yeah.
changed for the benefit of
Yeah.
everybody. So,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm Jack Jennings from the County Engineers Map Department.
all right,
In
good.
response to, your question was what? What needs to happen if an address changes? Or does
Yes,
it
I
void
believe
your
it.
deed? I don't recall what it
Yeah,
Yeah, the auditor will want the correct address for tax purposes, but there's no legality other than that I'm aware of as far as addresses. You know, it's something that you utilize for your purposes, and same with post offices. You know, the post office do not have set boundaries. They jump over each other sometimes. It's a revenue issue with them. So, and I think that applies here. I think Powell was chosen by someone as the address, and it probably would have been another post office that would have served this area. That's what I've been told. So,
okay, so the auditor has to have that change for sure, and of course, they want their mail then delivered to whatever address that.
yeah, the auditor
I mean,
will.
so they're practical things.
And that's why the address is listed in every deed, so that the auditor can pick that up for tax purposes,
I see.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, but it does not void your deed or anything.
Okay.
That's there as a reference.
yeah, okay. Okay, any other? Eric.
Just to back Jack up on that point, the address listed in a deed is not sufficient for legal description purposes. So the deeds will not need to be changed. Now, they could do an amendment to clarify, but that address listed in the deed, addresses have changed over the years, and that doesn't void the deed in any way, because the legal description in the deed itself is what describes that property for title purposes.
Yes,
Good point.
thank you. Yes,
Parcel number.
For this subdivision, they would be probably listed by lot number.
Yes.
With reference to the subdivision plat.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
okay.
But to get their future tax bills, et cetera, there needs to be some way of getting a new address. to
So
the auditor.
The auditor.
I have prepared a resolution if you were ready to move forward with this change today or at some future date. And the law actually requires that you certify a copy of this resolution to the engineer, the recorder, and the auditor so that they can all change their records. The statute also requires that all of those offices maintain in some way the name of the former road so that there's not any confusion. And so the records for the county will always have some reference to both names if you were to change this road.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
My name is Lynn Thomas. I live on 4131 Pheasant Run, and I echo everyone that has spoken. It's been a problem. I've been unable to report the electrical outage because I don't have a valid address. There's some places I can't order from because I don't have a valid address. For very important papers and documents and things, I'm still using my daughter's address in Dublin.
Yeah.
Thank God she lives up here. Just an example, the trash service, it took me 5 calls in 2 weeks to get a trash can. And now I'm in my 4th week of trying to return a broken trash can. Now they still can't find it. The service providers, as mentioned, lost, upset when they got there. So many people are paid, say, 2-hour flat rate.
Sure.
And they spend the first hour looking for our place.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to get directions. I've got a whole set of directions I can give people now, but automation beats you every time. They just, once you give your address,
Right.
it's done.
Right.
We've addressed the 911 issue. That was my big issue coming in here.
Okay.
Was a 911 problem.
Sure.
I would love to see a modification to the name Pheasant Run West, East, North, we're northwest of the other Pheasant Run, maybe a north or northwest or west, something that maybe could incorporate the name we have now with a modifier at the end. Maybe that would be somewhat helpful.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, a gigantic pain. As far as, I think this is best addressed to Eric then, our responsibility here is we want to change, say if we want to change the name, then what do we do? And then who chooses the name and all that?
Well, you can take whatever testimony you want from the individuals, input from the individuals as to what they wish the name to be, but ultimately you would have to approve that name.
Okay.
The county commissioners are vested with the authority to change the name of any road in the unincorporated area, so it's your decision as to what that name is. The reference to the other issues, the county is limited to changing the name of the road. Whatever fallout there is after that, changing address, things like that, that's the individual owner's responsibility to change that. The county does not have any ability under the statute to provide any assistance, financial or otherwise, in that process. It merely changes the name of the road, certifies it, that change to the appropriate offices, and that's it.
Okay. Okay.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
And I don't have the answer. Some of these things are darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. We received a letter on the other side of the issue about the name from a Miranda Martin, who lives at 4244 Pheasant Run. Her request was we have a name dissimilar from the current name because she felt there would still be confusion. And I hear people today saying, let's give a similar name, we change this or that. So whatever we ultimately do, it will have different impact or psychological impact on different people. But what we want to do is come up with a name that solves this problem. And I think we need to talk about how we're going to go about doing that. But that's something to think about as well. If you're not going to, the ideal is to avoid the confusion going forward. A partial name change, you may not accomplish that, and you may all regret it down the road. Although it may seem convenient today, long-term, it may not be the best solution.
Yeah.
So something to think about
Yeah.
as we go through this name evaluation process.
Yes, sir.
What kind of Gibbs, and I live at the same location as my wife over there.
We're happy to
The
hear.
change of this, to me, if we change the name completely, then they still won't know how to get to us because everybody's plugging it into GPS. We're just now on GPS actually showing Pheasant Run in some of the applications. So are we just putting off the problem another year to get back in for that address? The address of the other location is a 100. We started 40 some odd. In the end, will it really be to our advantage to literally change the name of the road? Because then we still have to get back into Google, back into all the other, offerings for GPS. Because we're still going to have the same problem. Once they get the addresses into GPS, we won't, because we'll be the 4,000 versus the 100, which is what Retreat is. And even though they both carry the same zip code. So I don't know if we're gained or not, is the only thing I know. Because like you said, everything they have is already set up as Pheasant Run.
Jane raised her hand, and she wants to make a comment.
Oh.
Probably because of our experience
Okay.
with them, I guess.
Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. I can speak to the issue of Google picking up on the change with the addresses because we just went through this when we changed the courthouse and the Hayes Building addresses. What the folks at the City of Delaware who controlled that address change for us explained is once it's entered into public records, we're dependent on Google's information gathering systems picking it up. So there's nothing that we can do as the county to shorten that time frame. What you're describing is now you're showing up on GPS. That's because Google finally started gathering that. Right, right. So, yeah, so again, it's sort of, short-term pain versus long-term solution here. whatever you choose for the name change, it is still going to take, and it took us about, we calculated, it took about 2.5 months before it was showing up on GPS, the new addresses for the
That's a
court.
relatively short time for it to be picked up.
Pardon?
2.5 months seems like a relatively short time in the scheme of things.
Right, because we were concerned it would be a lot longer, but as long as it's in public record somewhere, Google is harvesting that information, so I just thought I'd add that.
Thank you. No, thank you, that's very helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Forrest Williams again. I think we can trust you, and I thought about, well, if we had it as Pheasant Run Drive or something like that, but again, it still could cause confusion with the other street. I think if it was a different name, it might make it easier, but I don't have the expertise or the information to know what that answer is. I think that rests with the team here, and so with me just personally, it could be anything you want. Robin Hood Lane.
Robin Hood Lane.
It could be anything.
Okay.
But it's going to take a huge amount of time to change the address regardless of what it is
Yes,
with all
you're
of
right,
the things.
you're
I don't know
right.
how many hours we spent on that
Yes.
making phone calls, and then they get it wrong, and then we'd have to call again, and then call
Yes.
again, and that kind of thing. You understand that probably better than all of us put together, and I would be perfectly happy if you take this thing and run with it, and we'll cheer for you.
Well, you know, one thing too, we're gonna have to obviously check if we come up with some name that it's not
Well, we
the
can do
same
that
name.
today. We're prepared to do that today.
Oh, are we?
My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong,
I think we better
if-
double check.
if we can come to a consensus on a name today, we have the people in the room who can confirm whether that is a legitimate name we can use or not. And the
Oh,
sooner we
okay.
resolve this problem, the sooner we all get on with our lives. And I just can get it done today rather than reliving this later, personally. Yes.
Yes, sir, yes, just come on up.
Quick question is, we lived in a similar area years back and around Cincinnati. And would it solve the problem if they changed the post office? I mean, if we were Concord Township, then there wouldn't be a problem. You look up Pheasant Run, Concord
We
Township.
don't control the post office.
No, that's what I'm saying, because we lived in a place, and it was one big address, and then all of a sudden Liberty Township got its own zip code, and another township got its own zip code. The problem is we have the same zip code as someone that's 10 miles away, so, no, I'm all for, look, I'm just all for a quick solution, because it really is a headache. You can't get people to come to your place.
I think our Delaware Regional Planning Director is going to address this.
I don't have comments. Yeah, Scott Sanders with the Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah.
To respond to that, just in some of the research that we've done, there are 2 more sections of that subdivision yet to be recorded, and those are showing up in 43015, which is Delaware City, which tells me that the developer, through some process that nobody here can explain that I know of, they can go and they can ask to be in that other zip code, which is what Jack referenced. So I think that land was under the Delaware zip code, and then they asked to go into 43065, which is interesting because if delivery is the problem, you would think that the postmaster of that zip code might have been concerned about seeing that duplication.
Right, yes.
So the whole street naming thing, just to get kind of beyond that, is a little more art than it is science. And I'm surprised at the names these folks come up with. And, you know, I can't imagine, well, I should have looked it up, but how many streets have the word Highland in the name over in Highland Lakes? Because it seems like every section of that is a different version of that name. So I'm just surprised this can't be the first time that this has been an issue, but I think just the fact that it's a new subdivision is part of that. And I don't know how long it takes for those things to show up in Google either. We do have a bit of a process that's been evolving over time. I only have review and authority over subdivisions that are in unincorporated areas, and that's about 40 active subdivisions right now. But I keep a list of all the pending names, is what I call them. When we get a new preliminary, we check them against the auditor's website, which is the best source that I can find. of existing names, then we check it against our pending names. And so we kind of rely on other opportunities to check condos because we don't review those. Apartments, they're asking for new road names. The municipalities, sometimes we only know what's actually existing in those cases. So we are trying to do a better job of catching those. When they contact the map room, Jack will send them to us, and we'll try to add those names to our list. So I think moving forward, especially after this meeting, I think that gives me some justification to say yes or no in a stronger fashion than just, we think this is a bad idea for you to use this particular name. I can kind of point to this meeting and this situation to justify telling people no. Because sometimes it is a question. Is it 2 municipalities away? Is that okay? Is it 5 zip codes apart? Is it clearly 2 different fire districts? Those questions all come up when you get an Oak Street or a Maple Street or, something that sounds very common. So I guess I'm rambling on, but.
No, well, are you saying that there may be, that perhaps changing a zip code? The zip code might be an answer here?
Well, I don't think I wouldn't suggest that we go backwards and try to get that changed.
Okay,
at this point.
okay, all right.
And I don't know the solution for the road name change for this particular
Okay,
situation.
I see, yeah. Okay, thank you, Scott. Patrick?
I was talking with Jack for a minute. The only thing that we were looking at least on the 911 side, is don't use a cardinal direction on it. I know a couple of the residents wanted to keep it Pheasant Run and add an N to it or whatever. We would prefer not, as we've seen in the county, where we have Medallion Drive East, Medallion Drive West, we have Retreat Lane East and West. There is confusion when people are trying to respond hot on calls to make sure you remind them, and getting the alarm companies to say, make sure which one they tell us they're at. Because sometimes the alarm companies will tell us, we're at this location, oops, we forgot the cardinal direction at the end. So we just it's easier on us if you keep those parts out. The only thing, talking with Jack and that on things, if they wanted to keep a pheasant way or a pheasant trail, but nothing with keep the first word, get rid of the run altogether out of it. If they
Okay.
want to keep it like, I can't remember what gentleman
Yeah.
referenced, he could at least write off on his checks, keep
Yeah. Yeah.
keep that off, but at least he keeps the first word, but Pheasant Way or something like that. But
Yeah.
that's the only input we had on our side, is get no cardinal directions.
Okay.
People forget to tell us those sometimes.
Sure,
So-
sure. Oh, thank you. It's very helpful.
Yeah, I guess I had a question. I'm interested if the engineer's office has any experience with name confusion on similar names, or the auditor's office or anybody.
Yeah, Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. I spoke with Engineer Bauserman yesterday. This is the first duplication we're aware of in the last 30 years, so it's not to say it didn't happen, but that's not too bad.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, except for that. Yeah,
Except for these
First in
folks.
30 years.
Yeah.
Not, but,
There you go.
you know, we have no recommendation in terms of, we'll defer to the other agencies. Patrick brings up a good point with the cardinal directions. We do
Okay.
have, that said, we do have some other streets, lots of other streets out there that have north and south or east and west, but generally those are continuous, and they might start at a major road and one goes east, one goes west. These being several miles apart, that could potentially create a problem using a cardinal direction modifier. So
Sure. Oh,
that's all the
okay.
input we have.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone opposed to changing the address in Concord?
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
It's just, change the name, is that gonna be on record for, like, because people who are sending you stuff, because we'll have to go change our address and everything we possibly own. And they're still gonna send things to Pheasant Run, is it still gonna get to us?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they just have to work with their post office.
Yeah.
Let me offer a possibility. We're going to need to go into executive session,
Yeah.
and we have the people here that know possible names. I would be willing to let the residents come up with a name or two. Personally, I would prefer something different than pheasant, candidly, but that's my
I would
preference.
too.
But
I
if,
think you're-
and I think our executive committee may take 15, 20 minutes. If you guys would like to maybe go in the room over there and come to a consensus on a name,
We'll have to stay in here.
I think we'll stay in here. We can go in executive session, and when we come out, then we can have that conversation, and I'd much prefer to use the name you guys come up with, if you're willing to go through that, and we have the resources here to make sure that is a good name. So that's my suggestion.
Okay,
Does that sound, is that appropriate?
yeah. It could be longer than 15 minutes. It could be a half hour, so just so you know. Okay.
And we need to recess the hearing, or the hearing can stay in session while we go into executive?
Just on the record, recess the hearing.
Okay.
Don't close it. Recess the
Okay,
hearing.
okay.
Then adjourn into executive session. When you come back, you can reconvene the hearing.
Okay, okay. Oh,
Forrest has a question.
you've got, yes, sir.
Forrest Williams again. Does it have to be a bird? Because they,
No.
It's up to you guys.
That's up to you.
that would be up to, okay. well,
And if you
Yeah.
can't, if you can't come to consensus, you come back with 2 or 3 names, and I think we can choose between those
Yeah,
names.
yeah. That's good.
It could be an animal.
I think Patrick, when he mentioned cardinal, I started thinking too, oh, you want us to name it after a cardinal? And that,
He means east, west, north, south.
yeah, he means, yeah, primary, yeah. No, it doesn't have to be a bird.
Recess.
Yes. Are you going to read a motion?
We'll just recess this hearing.
Okay,
How about-
we will, okay. Yes, sir.
Do it for a defined time period, so.
20 minutes or
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. We are going into recess now, 20 minutes, more or less.
we'll be,
We will be
recessed
recessed
until 10:55.
More or less.
10:55, more or less.
And I will read the resolution for executive session.
Okay.
Resolution number 19-472, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment compensation of a public employee or public official to consider the purchase of property for public purposes for pending or imminent litigation.
So moved. Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-472. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye, we're now recessed into executive session.
Okay.
Okay.
Resolution number 19-473, in the matter of adjourning out of the executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion vote?
Vote on motion 19-473. Mr. Merrill?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. All right, we are
We're out of executive session now.
We
gotta
are
get back
back.
Shall now reconvene the hearing
Okay.
of the Pheasant Run. Sorry, I lost my page.
Yeah.
The- Reconvening the hearing to consider the changing the name of Pheasant Run, a township road in the unincorporated area of Concord Township, Delaware County, Ohio.
in. So moved.
Second?
Discussion vote?
Vote, well, I don't, We don't need to vote on
Oh, we
that.
don't need to vote? Well, we have reconvened then. All right.
We don't have to redo the rules, the waiver of the rules or anything?
No.
Okay.
Okay. And would anyone like to tell us what you've decided? This is kind of like a show.
Here's our rep.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Brandt on behalf of 911 and your committee of people up here. The road is officially, or being recommended to you guys, being called Bluebird Drive.
All right. I like
There was a vast review of all kinds of birds, and we searched and we found one not used in the county currently.
So it has gone through the appropriate vetting.
Yes, myself, Scott, and have
Engineer.
checked into this, and we've worked with Jack and such, and
I
we,
see a lot of nods from the
Great.
residents.
it is in one word.
Okay.
Yes, Bluebird is one word. Okay.
We had to
Okay.
discuss that part.
And, you know, you guys are going to have to go back and defend this with all your neighbors.
Yes, yes,
All these people that are gonna have this big change.
So you know how we feel.
yes. That's right. This is what happens when they don't show up at a meeting.
And in my homes, I wonder what their impacts will be.
Yeah, they'll have about 40, 50 lots they'll have to have.
Oh, that's right, that's
So,
right.
yeah,
They're selling
Scott,
those
does it-
lots.
Scott, does it happen for the next
Eric, do we
plat?
have to come out of the,
I just wanted to point out, since you brought up MI, that they were also notified, so they could have sent a representative, and they did not.
With the attitude they had when we closed on our house, I figured they wouldn't show up because they put all the responsibility of this on Delaware County. We did all the plat research, we did all of this, this, and this. I looked at the girl and I said, ma'am, I am not Delaware County's customer, I'm MI Homes customer. And you should be taking care of this.
Eric, do we have to close the hearing before we can vote on this resolution? Or-
You should, yes.
We need an effective date, though.
But when you adopt the resolution, you will have to fill in that blank, yes. So if you want to discuss that
That's
as a
what I was
part of the
saying.
hearing, then you should do that before you close the hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Any reason not to make it effective immediately?
No, I just left it blank because I didn't want to be presumptive.
Yeah. Well, there again, what are the ramifications of
Yeah, what are the
of different dates,
ramifications if we
engineer's
change-
office, or,
The name,
I
right.
guess maybe they communicating to other residents, it might be nice to have a little, I don't know.
Making
there-
a change effective immediately just simply means that the resolution will take effect immediately, it'll be certified immediately, but then the change, obviously, it's effective today, but that doesn't mean that everybody has to
as
do
they,
everything today. It'll just play out as it normally does because the road has changed its name. But if you wanted to have some time for people to prepare for that, that's the reason why I left it blank.
Yeah, I see, yes.
it would seem to me I'd want some,
I would say if we adopt today, there doesn't seem to be a problem with it. 60 days, make it official.
July,
There's a
yeah.
lot of work going on, we've got people doing things for us.
Okay, yes, yes,
A
that,
lot of confusion.
Could we say July 1st, that's 45 days, it's first of a month?
It's okay with me, as long as we notify everybody on Pheasant Run, and guess what, your street's gonna, because everybody has to go into their records and say, I gotta notify the bank.
right. That's a question for Eric.
I was thinking having the first of a month.
Once we rename the street
so,
and give an effective date, I assume there's a notification process for all the residents
I
and owners.
wrote in here that they would all be sent a notice.
Okay.
Everybody, including the ones who are here and the ones who are not. Along with a courtesy notice to the City of Powell, Concord Township trustees, and also the owner of the other lots. She requested to be notified.
Sure, it makes sense.
okay. So July 1st would be the effective date.
Who is responsible for notifying the utilities? With public who has no idea that we live on Pheasant Run. You can't deliver.
Well, that's the reason we're giving you 45 days.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
yes.
unfortunately.
Okay, so we need to
Close the hearing.
close the hearing. I will
If we're done
entertain.
with- Are we
yeah.
done with discussion?
I make a motion, we close the hearing?
I will second that.
Resolution number 19-474, in the matter of closing the public hearing to consider the change of the name of Pheasant Run, a township road in an unincorporated area of Concord Township, Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-474. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
And I will read the next resolution then.
Yes.
Resolution number 19-475, in the matter of changing the name of Pheasant Run, a township road in the unincorporated area of Concord Township, Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Sure.
I just want to thank the two people who originally brought this to our attention. I don't think either one are here. A Dan Snyder and a Miss Rohr, Robin Rohr. Those are the first two emails we got on this topic, and I'd just like to say thank you to them, and thank you to everybody in this room for the role you played in this. And every time you look at that street sign, you can say, I had something to do with that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's right.
I would also like to thank everyone, because, again, it's cooperation. You know, we got all sorts of jurisdictions represented and agencies and so on, and the process is new to us, certainly. And we learn from it, and I think it's going to work out fine with the transition pain, but long-term, it'll be worth it.
I am very happy that you chose the name.
Eric, who changes the street sign? Does the county engineer take responsibility for that? I don't know. Well, I don't either, that's the reason I'm asking.
Depends on what type road it is. It's a township road. Is it the engineer, Doug? Yeah, Doug is still here from the engineer's office.
Doug Riedel, Township Liaison with the County Engineer's Office. I was, we were discussing that, I was just thinking in my mind, there's signs out there that we're going to have to change. And the first thought that comes to mind is that if the road has been accepted by the county, then I'm going to have to notify Concord Township that they're going to have to change the street name sign. If it's still not been accepted as a public road, then that would be back on the developer of that particular area for them to change the signs.
Okay.
So it's the first thought out of my head. I can vet that out with our office, but I think that's the direction
Okay.
that we're going to head.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Doug. All right, let's vote.
Vote on motion 19-47.
Yes, go ahead.
Carol Huser. My question is going to be as far as with that transition in the signs on the road, now for 911, as far as if it still says Pheasant Run, does that?
We'll be okay with 911, he personally knows.
He knows us. Yeah. I'm good with that, but that's my question.
Okay.
Within our system, we'll keep both addresses in there temporarily to give it longer than the July timeframe within our system. The Township Fire Department will be notified of both of them of saying, here's what the change will be. Even if a resident still calls in using Pheasant, we will refer it over to Blue Jay so they know, and dispatch the fire department to the, Bluebird, I'm sorry. I did, hey, we're like Blue Jay now?
Yeah.
So we'll switch it over to Bluebird, sorry.
Was that, Carol, was that reassuring?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Okay, thank you. All right, let's have a vote.
Vote on motion 19-475. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Motion carries. And we've already gotten out of the hearing. We have no other business, correct? Okay, we are adjourned.
Burger flipping.